Ever been so dead sure about something like gravity or the Yankees winning in October, only to have the rug yanked out from under you? That was my marriage to Emily. Thought we were rock solid, a New York fairy tale, but turns out even skyscrapers have cracks you don't see until it's too late. I picture our wedding day like it was yesterday, right there in Central Park, Bethesda Terrace shimmering behind her. Emily walked towards me, sunlight catching her hair, and that smile, man, it could melt the polar ice caps. Right then, standing there, it wasn't just happiness, it was certainty. Certainty we'd be those old folks holding hands on park benches, that nothing could touch us. Forever, right? Except forever in this city is about as long as a yellow cab ride in rush hour. At first, I bought the usual excuses. Life in the city, the grind, Wall Street stress, late nights at the office. Maybe we were just drifting apart, a natural ebb and flow after years together, like the tides in the East River. But then, the little things started piling up, bricks in a wall I didn't want to see. She became distant, like she was in another borough emotionally miles away. Her goodnight kisses, once electric, felt routine, like she was just going through the motions. And the worst part? I convinced myself I was imagining it, that I was the one screwing up. Looking back, I think a part of me always knew you don't lose something that big overnight. It's a slow fade, like a neon sign flickering out, bulb by bulb. But when you're desperate to hold on, you'll ignore the flashing warnings. I ignored them until I couldn't anymore. One night, we're on the couch, cramped as usual in our tiny Upper West Side apartment. She's glued to her phone, scrolling like it's oxygen. Then she tilts the screen away when I glance over. Didn't think much of it at first. Everyone's got their privacy, right? Next day, her phone buzzes, a notification flashes. Caught a glimpse before she swiped it away. Name wasn't familiar. Some guy? David something. I asked, casual, who's David? Her response was sharp, like a cornered rat. Friend from work, she snapped, but her tone set off alarm bells in my gut. Still, I told myself, chill out, Mike, you're being paranoid. People work late, friends need help, city life is crazy. But the excuses started sounding hollow, even to me. She started coming home later and later. Stuck at a meeting, drinks with colleagues, helping Sarah with a project. Always vague, never details. Her stories started feeling off, like a Broadway play with a script that didn't quite make sense. The real crack, the one that shattered everything, appeared one random afternoon. Cleaning up, tidying our cramped apartment, I found a crumpled receipt in her purse. Hotel, the Grandview Suites, Westchester. Fancy place. I stared at it, the paper crinkling in my hand, trying to make sense of it. No work trips, no mention of out-of-town friends. Just a fancy hotel receipt. Then, the slip of the tongue. Dinner, one night, takeout from that new Italian place downtown. She mentions this restaurant, some place I'd never heard of. Oh, that place on Bleecker, I ask. Who'd you go with? She froze, fork halfway to her mouth. Eyes darted around the tiny kitchen like she was searching for an escape route. Work, meeting, she mumbled, but her face, man, her face screamed lie. By now, the knots in my stomach were a full-blown hurricane. Didn't want to confront her. Not yet. If I was wrong, I could blow everything up, turn our life into a scene from a Woody Allen movie, all neurotic drama. But if I was right, I needed proof, solid New York City-style evidence. Private investigator. Felt like something out of a bad detective novel, but I was desperate. Guilty, too, like I was spying, betraying her trust, but I had to know the truth, even if it was going to hurt like hell. First set of photos from the PI arrived in my inbox. Digital daggers to the heart. There she was, sitting in a cafe, looked like the West Village, all exposed brick and fancy coffee. With him, David. They weren't just across from each other, they were leaning in, heads close, laughing. Another photo, strolling down a tree-lined street, hand in hand, heading into an apartment building, brownstone, looked like the Upper East Side. His place, the PI suspected, lover's nest. But the photo that broke me, the one that ripped me apart, it was taken at night. Dark, grainy, but unmistakable. Emily and David sitting on a bench, Central Park again, but this time, no wedding dress, no promises. Just a kiss, in the open, brazen, like they didn't care who saw. She looked happy. Maybe she'd found happiness with him, something I hadn't given her. Hated to admit it, but they looked good together, like a couple in a magazine ad. Perfect New York couple. It wasn't just the cheating, it was the way she seemed to glow around him. Like a different person. She wasn't just having an affair, she was living another life. A secret life in the same city, blocks away. That's when my heart shattered. Pieces all over the floor of our cramped apartment. I kept replaying the times I'd tried to save us, the date nights I'd planned, thinking we could reconnect, reignite the spark. Dinner at that place in Little Italy, Broadway show tickets, even a weekend getaway to the Hamptons. All wasted. She always had an excuse. Too tired, too busy, just not feeling it. I'd ask, "What's wrong, Em?" She'd shrug, "Nothing, Mike, everything's fine. Don't worry." Lies, all lies. One night, sleepless, staring at the ceiling, I scrolled through old photos of us on my phone. Found one from Coney Island, summer day, her laughing. That infectious laugh, me hugging her from behind, the cyclone roller coaster looming in the background. Where did that version of us go? Could I have fixed it? If I'd tried harder, loved her more, been more something? Looking at those PI photos, the truth hit me like a subway train. She'd already left, emotionally at least. She wasn't just having an affair. She'd given her heart to someone else. And no matter what I did, I couldn't compete with that. That was the hardest pill to swallow. I wasn't just losing my wife. I was losing the life we'd built together, brick by brick in this city. Every memory felt tainted. Every promise we'd made, from our vows in Central Park to planning our future in Brooklyn, felt like a lie. At that moment, the anger, the sadness, it all just numbed. The woman I loved was gone, replaced by someone I didn't recognize. I had to let her go, release her back into the city, even though it felt like tearing myself in half. That night, I sat on the edge of our bed, the city lights painting stripes across the walls, staring at a framed photo from our wedding day. Made a plan. No screaming match, no begging, no pathetic pleas for answers. I wanted her to see the truth, raw and undeniable, laid bare like Times Square at midnight. Pulled out everything I'd collected over the months. PI photos, Emily and David laughing, touching, in ways that used to be ours. Screenshots of texts, lovey-dovey messages, things she used to whisper to me. Receipts from fancy dinners, that hotel in Westchester, places I'd never been, experiences I wasn't a part of. Spent hours arranging it all on the living room wall, above the fireplace. A chaotic collage of betrayal. Wanted it to tell a story, a timeline of her lies, from the first suspicious text to the latest hotel tryst. Every detail, every lie, exposed. When I was done, I wrote a note, simple, direct, final, New York bluntness. Enjoy your new life. Locks are changed, and so is my heart. Pinned it to the center of the wall, right where she couldn't miss it. Stood back, looked at my artwork of heartbreak. Mix of emotions, a cocktail of pain and defiance I couldn't quite decipher. Angry? Yeah. Furious she'd lied, betrayed me, trashed everything we'd built. Deep sadness, too, like mourning a death, even though she was still alive, still breathing somewhere in this city. But something else, too. A tiny spark of strength. First time in months, felt like I was taking back control, reclaiming my life from the wreckage. Didn't want to hurt her, didn't want revenge, didn't want some dramatic showdown on the Brooklyn Bridge. Just wanted her to see what she'd done, to know that I knew everything, that I wasn't going to play the fool anymore. Walked out the door for the last time, whispered to myself, this is it, start of something new. Sat in my car, parked down the block, phone in hand, watching the live feed from the security cam I'd set up. Living room view, heart pounding, but not from excitement. Dread, relief, didn't know anymore. Then I saw her. Walking through the front door, bouquet in hand, smiling to herself. Wondered where the flowers came from. David? Or a pathetic attempt at guilt flowers for me? Had to laugh, bitter laugh. She never bought me flowers. She stood in the entryway for a moment, like she was rehearsing lines, preparing her cover story for another late night, another lie. Then she turned, walked into the living room. That's when it hit her. Froze. Eyes locked onto the wall. My masterpiece of betrayal. Photos, texts blown up, receipts pinned up like trophies of deceit. Every detail of her double life on display. Smile vanished, bouquet slipped from her hand, hit the floor with a soft thud. For a moment, she just stood there, staring, brain trying to catch up with what her eyes were seeing. Then she stepped closer, hand trembling as she reached out, pulled the note off the wall. Enjoy your new life. Locks are changed, and so is my heart. Read it once, twice, maybe 3 times. Then, without a sound, dropped the note, sank onto the couch. Face pale, ghost-like, staring at the wall like it had swallowed her whole world. Watched her crumble, real time, on my phone screen. Part of me thought I'd feel something, satisfaction, maybe even a little triumph after weeks of planning, staging this moment. But I felt nothing, empty, hollow. Love isn't supposed to end like this. A silent explosion in a cramped New York apartment. Didn't know where I was going, just knew I couldn't stay. Not in that apartment, not with those memories, not within those walls that had witnessed it all. Got in the car, drove. Mind racing, but heart strangely quiet. She didn't call, didn't text, didn't try to stop me. No begging, no apologies, nothing. That silence, louder than any screaming match, told me everything I needed to know. She'd already checked out, weeks, months ago, long before I walked out the door. Needed space. Space to breathe, to think, to figure out what the hell was next. Divorce wasn't just a word anymore, legal jargon in a lawyer's office. It was a step, a necessary surgery to cut out the diseased part of my life. Knew it wouldn't be easy, messy, expensive, New York divorce court, a battlefield. But it was the only way forward. Hoped the judge would see it clearly, grant me what I deserved, whatever that was anymore. Miles passed, blurring into the Jersey landscape, thinking about everything, not just the betrayal, but the lessons. Self-respect. That was the big one. Spent so long fighting for someone who'd already given up, walked away, handed her heart to someone else. Realize now, loving someone doesn't mean losing yourself in the process. Trust. Once it's shattered, it's almost impossible to glue back together. Leaves a scar, deep, jagged, that doesn't fade. Hope. Even in the wreckage, the mess, the pain, had to believe I'd find peace again. Maybe even happiness. Gave her my heart, yeah, and she broke it, stomped on it, left it bleeding on the sidewalk of our life. But that doesn't mean I can't rebuild, pick up the pieces, find a new heart somewhere in this city. Sometimes, starting over, from scratch, is the only way to move forward, to breathe again. If you're watching this, wherever you are, listen up. Didn't share this story for pity points, didn't want a virtual shoulder to cry on. Sharing it because I want you to think. Think about what you'd do if you were in my shoes, walking my broken path. When I first saw the signs, the little cracks, the subtle shifts, I made excuses, played it down, told myself I was imagining things, overthinking, being a typical New Yorker, anxious and neurotic. But deep down, that gut feeling, that instinct, it was screaming something wasn't right. Hardest part wasn't finding out the truth, the PI photos, the note, the wall of shame. Hardest part was deciding what to do next, standing at that crossroads of denial and reality. Here's the thing, plain and simple, New York style. If someone's betraying your trust, ripping apart the foundation you built together, you got two choices. Confront it, head on, rip off the Band-Aid, face the music. Or try to ignore it, bury your head in the sand, hope it magically disappears like a bad dream on the subway. I chose to face it. Wasn't easy, hell no, felt like walking through fire, flames licking at my skin. But I knew I couldn't live a lie anymore. Couldn't fake it. Couldn't pretend everything was sunshine and roses when our garden was dying. Truth hurt, yeah, cut deep, but it also set me free, unlocked the cage I'd built around myself. So here's my advice. Free of charge, take it or leave it. If you ever find yourself in a situation like this, gut screaming, heart aching, don't let fear hold you hostage. Don't stay silent just because you're terrified of being alone, of facing the unknown, of ripping apart your life. Don't think things will magically fix themselves. Fairy tale endings are for movies, not real life, especially not in this city. Respect yourself enough to demand honesty, even if it's brutal, even if it means walking away, leaving everything behind. Because sometimes walking away, stepping into the unknown, is the bravest, strongest thing you can do. Choosing yourself, your own sanity, your own future, that's not selfish. That's survival. Now, I want to ask you something straight up. What would you do if you were me standing in my shoes, staring at that wall of betrayal? Would you have confronted her right away, slammed the door, demanded answers? Would you have done what I did, gathered proof, played it cool, planned your exit strategy? Or would you have tried to fix it, even knowing the lies, the deceit, the other man? Let me know in the comments. Seriously. Want to hear your thoughts, your perspective, maybe even learn something from your experiences. At the end of the day, I made the choice that felt right for me, the only choice I could live with. And yeah, it still hurts, a dull ache in my chest, a phantom limb of what we had. But I can look in the mirror, see my own eyes, and know I did what I had to do. I chose myself. And maybe, just maybe, that's the most important choice of all.